Ustadha Reem memorized the Quran at the age of 7, got her bachelor's in Islamic studies at Qatar University, got her master's in theological studies at Harvard University, and is now getting her PhD at the University of Texas for Islamic Law. Ustadha Reem, thank you so much for joining the Ansari podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited for our conversation, inshallah.
So, how do you view the hijab? Is it something that is spiritual, or is it something that is law for you?
I think it's both. I mean, just like, for example, again, I gave the example of fasting and praying. Those things are both spiritual and legal. And the thing with the Sharia, with Islamic law, there's not really a kind of big barrier between the two. Many things, or maybe almost everything, that is legally required in Islam has some sort of spiritual benefit to it. Sometimes, some of them we see and some of them we don't. So for me, the hijab, and I would say, as a Muslim woman, the hijab is what I struggle with the most. I find the hijab extremely difficult to wear. It is a daily test for me because it influences the way I'm perceived in public. It influences the way I go shopping for clothes. It influences having to just get ready every single day. It influences all these different things. It influences the fact that I have to cover a part of myself every time I leave the house. And especially as a Muslim American, where I know I'm going to be perceived differently because I'm immediately looked at as because of my faith in public, the hijab is a very heavy thing to do. And I think the ayah from the Quran that gives me a lot of consolation when it comes to the hijab is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Asa an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khayran lakum," that it is possible for you to hate something and it is good for you. And that kind of gives me spiritual validation in knowing that Allah validates the fact that I can very severely dislike wearing the hijab, but that doesn't mean that it is not good for me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling me in the Quran that even though this is something I struggle to do, it is good for me. And then the second thing that gives me consolation is the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only situation where your efforts are measured and rewarded equally, if not more than the results. And the fact that Allah knows how hard something is for me makes it rewarded even more. So for someone, hijab may not be a struggle, but for example, abstaining from alcohol may be their struggle. So they're getting rewarded a lot more for not drinking alcohol than I am, who doesn't really care for it, right? But for me, because the hijab is very difficult for me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala measures my efforts and knows how hard it is for me. And that means it'll weigh a lot more on my scale on the day of judgment. And that is what keeps me going and wearing the hijab every single day.
I mean, subhanAllah, I'm surprised and interested in hearing you say this. You're a memorizer of the Quran. You have a bachelor's in Islamic studies. You lived in Qatar most of your life. You have a master's in theological studies from Harvard. You're getting your PhD in fiqh, and you're saying you still struggle to wear the hijab?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of those are an indicator as to why I would not struggle. In the end, I am still a human and I'm a woman and I like to, dress a certain way, and I can't dress that way because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed certain restrictions on, the way I dress and the way I have to cover my hair and the way I have to cover everything. So I don't think how hard something is to do is a measure of piety. I think whether someone does it or not is what measures someone's piety and someone's commitment. And I think it's important for me to be very honest in how hard it is to wear the hijab because it validates so many Muslim women who are struggling to wear it. For example, when someone is struggling to pray, right? They can't pray 5 times a day. A lot of people will go tell them, start praying 1 prayer, start praying 2 prayers, and then slowly, gradually increase until you can reach all 5 prayers. Of course, it is, they are doing something haram by not praying all their 5 prayers, but you want them to reach the right path that they're doing. But you don't see anyone giving advice to Muslim women that, hey, why don't you try wearing the hijab? Start off by wearing it just on Fridays when you go to Jama'ah. Start off by just wearing it in Ramadan. When you start doing something in small increments, slowly and slowly and slowly, just like we see some of the things that were, prescribed to the Sahaba also gradually, when you start to give advice to people, understanding the struggle that they come from, understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Ghafur Ar-Rahim, and He is also, the most kind, He's also the most merciful, He's also the one who sees what's going on in someone's heart. When you instill this love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in someone's heart, where they feel this comfort to be able to go through their struggle and come slowly to the goal that we want them to reach, and you give people that room to make mistakes and to come back and repent to Allah, then people are able to do things more authentically and with the right purpose and the right intention.
Well, what's the hardest part about the hijab for you, do you think?
I think it's just everything together, the fact that
All of it.
yeah, it's all of it. It's all of it. I mean, like nobody really understands except for those who wear the hijab how hard it is for us to just go shopping. That's why so many of us love going shopping in Turkey or in Egypt because all the clothes there are tailored towards being modest and towards women who wear the hijab versus in America if you enter any store over here most of the clothes are revealing and are not covering. So it's just harder to go shopping. Everything is more expensive because there's a higher demand for modest clothes, so things are more expensive. And then just having to feel comfortable in the way you look. Like it's a constant struggle every day to leave the house, knowing that you can look a certain way and that you have to cover up part of the way you look to adhere to the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's difficult. And then obviously living in America currently in the kind of environment where we're living, Islamophobia is very rampant right now, and just having this kind of anxiety, even if it's not a very conscious anxiety, it's kind of in the back of your head that someone could say something or do something to me at any moment because of the way I look. Recently, I was in a parking lot and someone rolled down their window and yelled "towel head" at me, which was fine. I wasn't really harmed, but in that moment, I'm just like, oh, someone yelled something very rude to me just because of the hijab that I'm wearing. So those kind of little things where other people have faced much more extreme Islamophobic incidents because of their hijab. So the fact that you're struggling with and balancing all these things at the same time, the anxiety, the discomfort with how you look, the difficulty of going shopping, all these things together, they may seem small things by themselves, but when you add them together and realize that Muslim women who wear the hijab are doing this every single day, it is very heavy. And I do think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward us very immensely for the struggle that we do face.
I know this girl that converted to Islam, and she is a brilliant girl, very inquisitive, has incredible questions, and I could see why she became Muslim, why Allah chose her. She put on the hijab, and then a year or two later, she took it off. And now, this is not just convert specific, but this happens to many born and raised Muslim women as well, where they take off the hijab. What would you say to them? What's happening there? Why do they end up taking it off after putting it on?
I mean, I think I would primarily place a lot of this responsibility on the way the community treats the hijab and how our Muslim communities perceive and discuss and talk about the hijab, and how many of us have made hijab indicators of whether a person is pious and a good person or not. When all this pressure comes on to Muslim women that they're being perceived a certain way, and people are, every time they, like, I mean, you see so many examples where Muslim women who wear the hijab are given so little lenience to making mistakes than women who do not wear the hijab. Why is that? Why is that the more pious, or the more, not the more pious, why is that the more kind of outwardly practicing, the more hijab a woman wears? Why is it that there's more pressure on her to be perfect and to not make any mistakes, and to immediately be held to cancel culture, where if she makes any mistakes because she's a hijabi, she's automatically, disgraced from society anytime she makes a mistake, whereas a woman who does not wear the hijab has so much more room to make mistakes and who has so much more encouragement that, yes, you can do better, you can repent, you can wear the hijab. I think when we show Muslim women who do wear the hijab that lenience to make mistakes, to work on their hijab, to maybe occasionally, what if they're wearing the hijab with their hair showing? That is when for example, you find a woman who wears hijab with her hair showing. The majority of the people in her comments online on social media would be like, just take it off. You're not wearing hijab. That's not real hijab anyways. I can see all your hair. All this negative reinforcement, all this criticism based on this woman who nobody knows how much she's already struggling to wear it. What motivation does she have to continue wearing it, right? And that's why I keep on stressing the pure connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When she faces all this criticism from outside, it just makes it even harder to wear. Imagine the comment says something like, you're doing amazing. I can see how hard it is for you to wear, and may Allah make it easier for you to wear it properly. When we see someone struggling to pray, again, I keep coming back to the prayer example because prayer is even more important than the hijab, and people are people show more leniency to prayer than they do with the hijab, which I don't understand. When you see someone struggling to pray, we're not going to tell them, oh, if you're only praying Fajr and Dhuhr, don't pray at all. Because you missed 3 prayers, you might as well pray 0. Do we ever tell anyone that at all? If you see someone fasting half of Ramadan, or if you see someone missing 3, 4 fasts in Ramadan, are we going to tell them to not fast at all? Or are we going to make dua for them that they're able to fast the whole Ramadan? So when it comes to a woman wearing hijab, and even if she's not wearing it properly, our response to this woman should be, I can see your struggle. I can see that it's hard for you to wear it, and may Allah make it easier for you to wear it properly. Because those 3, 4 strands of hair that women do take out in their hijab, it actually makes a huge difference in the kind of pressure that they wear. It makes a difference in how we perceive ourselves. It makes us not be asked, hey, are you bald under that hijab? Because people can see those few strands coming out of our hijab. So when women do wear the hijab improperly, it makes an act of obligation easier to be able to do it properly. Just like if someone is praying without khushu', they're not going to stop praying. They're going to pray and eventually reach a place where they're able to pray their prayer with khushu'. So I think if we give women who wear the hijab and are struggling to wear the hijab more lenience, then we will find a lot less women succumbing to the societal pressure to take it off.
I 100% agree. And for the people, and this is a lot of them, that comment under a woman's TikToks and Instagrams that have a little bit of their hair out, or a lot of their hair out even, that you should just take it off. Just know that you're doing the work of the devil. That's exactly how the devil speaks to you. Hey, you're already a bad person. You should just completely be bad. You should just you should despair in the mercy of Allah. That's exactly how the devil talks. So you have taken on the role of the devil when you say stuff like that to anyone online. That since you're doing something that's not perfect, then you might as well be completely imperfect. I've teamed up with Pomeroy, a full-service marketing agency founded by a Muslim businessman with over 20 years of experience. Whether you're building your business, improving your brand, or running a nonprofit, Pomeroy will help you improve your revenue, increase your return on investment. Visit pomeroy.com/Ansari and get a free consultation today, or just mention the podcast and you'll get a free consultation. Provision Capital is a Sharia-compliant real estate firm built on trust, scale, and purpose, with investments in residential real estate all across the United States, and their focus is ethical investing. Provision Capital has a historical annual track record for the past 10 to 15 years. Visit provisioncapital.com and join over 400 investors nationwide to begin ethically investing your money today. Invest in Provision Capital today and invest in an ethical future. What would you say to a Muslim girl who, when she goes to college or when she goes to high school, I knew a Muslim girl that did this. As soon as she entered the middle school and she wasn't in front of her parents anymore, she would take off the hijab. What would you say to her?
First, I think I would first say something to the parents, which is when you raise a girl to wear the hijab because as parents you command her and you order her to wear the hijab, and you associate the hijab with the discipline that if you don't wear the hijab you're going to be in trouble, or if you don't wear hijab you're going to bring shame onto us. That in these cases as parents all you're doing is adding more and more pressure to something that already has so much difficulty and pressure to it. I think when you instill values and love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hearts of these girls, that's what brings them to the hijab themselves. When you don't put pressure and you allow them to come to the hijab themselves, as long as they're dressing modestly, but you're allowing girls to come to the hijab themselves, find it in their own hearts that I want to wear the hijab and I will wear the hijab, then you will find your daughters to be wearing the hijab more easily. To this girl, I would tell her to re-evaluate her relationship with Allah before looking at the hijab, before looking at everything else. Narrow your focus down and look at, how do you perceive Allah? Do you perceive Allah as kind of a transactional God, where if you do good, you will be rewarded with Jannah, and if you do bad, you will go to hell? If that's what you're thinking of Allah, then to reevaluate and renew that relationship in that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who created me. He created me with purpose. He put me in this world to worship Him. And when I do worship Him, He will be pleased with me. And because He's pleased with me, He will reward me. When you learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names and certain attributes and you learn how merciful Allah is and how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants good for us and wants to forgive us and wants us to worship Him, then you find it in your heart to be more willing to do these things that are harder for you. So I would tell this girl to learn who Allah is, learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how He treats the believers and how He rewards the believers, and find it in your heart to build that relationship with Allah where you increase your khushu and concentration in prayers, where you make dua to Allah to make things easier for you, and eventually find your way back to the hijab.
You see, we all know Muslim women that wear the hijab and are in no way religious and in no way modest, and then Muslim women who don't wear the hijab and are very modest and very religious. So yeah, like what if a girl loves Islam, is very practicing, loves Allah, but is not hijabi? How does she reconcile the two in her heart?
Again, I think the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not something to be reconciled with something else. You love Allah or you don't. And when you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you constantly try to be better and better for Allah because you love Allah, and you know when you love Allah, then Allah loves you as well. So the thing that Muslim women, I think, in these situations do is just constantly try to be better. And if they're struggling with the hijab, but they're perfecting their prayers, and they're the ones that were waking up for tahajjud, and they're the ones that are praying all their sunnahs, and they're fasting every single Monday of every single week, and they're, doing all these other things to maintain their connection and their closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they can use that relationship to make dua to Allah to make hijab easier for them. When you build that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with all these other obligatory acts that are more primary and foundational, these lead to the hijab. These lead to eventually being able to wear the hijab. I know many Muslim women like this that are like, yes, I plan on wearing the hijab. I'm just, I'm getting there. I'm working on it. I'm getting there. And I think just like so many people are afforded the lenience of coming back to Allah and working on their selves, just like so many people pray their prayers without khushu', without concentration, but they're working on it. They're trying to be better. They're trying to come closer to Allah. They're trying to make their salah perfect. Similarly, Muslim women are trying to do the same thing with the hijab. I think when each of us, when we remember the ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى, that no person will be held accountable for the deeds of another person, that we focus on how are we perfecting ourselves and stop focusing on what other people are doing to come closer to Allah, then that can fix a lot of these issues of being judgmental and looking down at other people's piety. Because in the end, we are not responsible for any other person's act of worship or any other person's piety or any other person's hijab. We are responsible for what we do, and it could be that because we look down at someone for not wearing the hijab, that we are that Allah, basically we are lower in Allah's eyes because we are judging another person's piety instead of looking at our own selves.
When do you think a girl should start wearing the hijab?
I mean, the answer to that is very clear-cut Islamically. Whenever a girl reaches puberty, then that's when she's obliged to wear hijab. So that's the obligation. Whether a girl wants to start practicing beforehand, that's up to her. Me and my sister had very different approaches to the hijab. As a child, I used to like copying my mom, so I started wearing hijab quite young, here and there. And my sister started when she had to start wearing it because she grew up in a different type of society. So I think it just, I can't really answer this question except with the answer of the Sharia, which is they have to start wearing it when they are obliged to start wearing it. Now, when we're talking about situations where, if a certain person feels like if they start wearing it at that age or immediately, then they're eventually just going to take it off because they're giving into certain pressures, then, in those cases, maybe we give some lenience to people who are trying, because in the end, they are the only ones who are going to have to answer for their actions in front of Allah. We are not going to be asked about why another girl delayed wearing hijab by Allah. She is going to have to justify it to Allah herself.
I mean, I can just imagine how embarrassing it could be, or yeah, how embarrassing it could be for, a Muslim girl that goes to public school and she hasn't hit puberty yet. So all her friends know her without hijab on. And then she hits puberty, and suddenly the next school year, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, now she has to start wearing it one day, just popping up in a hijab on. Everyone's like, whoa, what happened? What happened there, Fatima, right? And I think that's what a lot of Muslim girls in the West go through is this like, coming out of the closet and wearing hijab in the first place in their schooling. So what if you're just too embarrassed to?
I want to be genuine in answering this question. I just have to say I did not have that experience personally because I was homeschooled until seventh grade, and then I moved to Qatar, and that's when I started going to school. So I've actually never experienced public school in America. So it's a little bit unfair for me to speak on terms of women's experiences. But what I will say is this comes back to the parents. And when you raise your children, again, I don't have kids, so I'm not going to, presume to teach parents how to parent their kids. But when you do have a household where you instill this very comfortable love of Islam in your identity, for my friends who did go to public school, what they would tell me is that they always felt so comfortable with their identity as Muslims, very unembarrassingly, very unapologetically, yeah, I am Muslim and I know everything about my faith because I was taught about my faith in a very healthy manner growing up. So if you have questions about my hijab, I can answer it. In the end, hijab is not obligatory before someone reaches puberty, and it is obligatory after. And if it looks, awkward or embarrassing to the public, in the end, the person knows what they're doing is the right thing, and they weren't doing anything wrong by not wearing it before, and they're doing the right thing by wearing it after they reach puberty. So when you instill love of Allah, I keep coming back to this because I genuinely think this is the root to having a healthy relationship with your deen, is a good connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you have that, when you have a proper understanding and education of your deen and of the values that your deen teaches you, of why women wear the hijab, of why modesty is important, of why we do things in this life that are hard for us even though we don't want to, and they don't seem rationally normal to do. When we understand the Sharia and when we understand our faith properly, and you can instill this in people as young as 7, 8, 9, 10, when you do that, when you raise them in that sort of household, then yeah, sure, someone comes and asks Fatima, why are you wearing the hijab? I still know what your hair looks like. She can be like, because my religion tells me to do, and then explain it to them as much as they want to hear it. So it's about creating unapologetic identities of being Muslim in young Muslim people.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my sister told me the thing that helped her was the fact that we coincidentally moved to a different school when she had to start wearing the hijab, so that she didn't really have to come out. I can't find another term other than this come out of the closet term, so I don't know, come out of the masjid, whatever. But she didn't have to do that, so maybe change schools? I
Wait,
don't
no,
know.
no, no.
I don't.
I have to correct that. I'm sorry. Number one, don't oblige her to wear the hijab. Encourage her to wear the hijab and instill the love of the hijab in her from a young age. And number two, do not move schools. Teach her how to be, again, comfortable with identity as a Muslim, and preferably grow up or have your kids grow up in societies where they have other Muslim peers. For example, right now, my sister is a sophomore in college, and some of the girls that started off in college with her did not wear the hijab. And then the second year, they started wearing the hijab. And it is actually very beautiful how these girls celebrate each other wearing the hijab. They all bring her flowers and chocolates and congratulate each other on wearing the hijab. They have hijab anniversaries. Oh, it's been like 7 years since I put the hijab on, 5 years since I put the hijab on. And now we have, brands that people feel more comfortable wearing the hijab because it's more fashionable amongst hijabi girls. I think there's so many things when you have groups of Muslim women that encourage you to wear the hijab. And these are some of the examples that I've seen that actually have encouraged other girls to wear the hijab, the fact that they see their friends doing it and they appreciate the beauty of hijab itself.
I think you just got to the solution of everything we've just been talking about for the past hour. That everything gets easier in Islam with community, with family, with support, with friends. When you are surrounded by people that are like you, everything becomes easier. I think that's literally the only solution.
100%. And I'm a very big supporter of creating these Muslim hubs and communities for us. Right now you have places like in Texas, in Dallas and Houston, and, there's other places like Michigan or Chicago or the DMV or wherever where you have lots of Muslim communities. And the more we can build that, the more we can keep again, I'm going off on tangents over here, but the more we can, build these places for Muslim women to be able to settle down with good Muslim careers, with good Muslim schools, with good masajid, where you have these support circles, I think that makes everything that we do so much easier, for sure. I can talk a lot about the importance of community in Islam, but just to, like, I guess the main point is that Islam is 100% not an individualistic religion, or a religion that accommodates towards individuals. Islam requires people to come together in congregation every single Friday. You're rewarded more for praying your obligatory prayers in Jama'ah. On Eid prayer, even Muslim women should be going to the masjid and coming in congregation. There's so much barakah and so much encouragement for people to do things in community and not to stay in their individual kind of lives.
Yeah, the wolf attacks the lone sheep, and the devil comes for the person that's alone. That's for sure. So, how did Muslim women historically understand the hijab versus how do they understand it today? Is there a difference?
We don't have actually, when it comes to Muslim women in the past wearing hijab, we don't have much data on it like we have other things. So when we look at how do Muslim women historically look at marriage and divorce, we have so many records from the courts, from different sort of documents about how Muslim women perceive that. But the hijab was something much more normal and part of society. And even if you look at how non-Muslim women dressed in America just 100 years ago, it was very modest and very differently than how Muslim women or how non-Muslim women dress now. So I think from what we can gauge from what we do have is that hijab was just normal. It was people fit in because everybody dressed modestly. And one of the reasons why there's so much pressure on hijab now is because it's so tied down to our identity, especially as, Muslim women in America. We talked about this. But every single time we go out of the house, we're representing our faith. Now, this could make something harder and easier. For me personally, this almost makes the hijab easier for me to wear because I like the idea that when people see me, the first thing they see about me or recognize about me is that I'm a Muslim, and that keeps me always holding myself to a higher standard in the way I treat other people and my kindness and the way I help other people. Because when people remember anything good that comes from me, they'll remember and associate with Islam. And I found hijab harder to wear in Muslim countries where other Muslim women did not wear the hijab because in the end I was just blending in with everybody else. Whether I wore hijab or not, half the women around me were wearing hijab because of cultural and reputational reasons, and not because they were sincerely convinced by the idea of hijab or its obligations or whatever it was. So yeah, I think the hijab has a lot of societal expectations and kind of baggage surrounding it now, which makes it very different from wearing it now than it was worn in the past.
Hmm. Have you seen that video of hijab in Britain? Like what Britain looked like just 100 years ago? What Europe looked like 100 years ago?
No, I have not.
These guys were wearing hijab left and right. If you look at Europe just 100 years ago, in 1905, 1900, every woman in the street was wearing a hijab. I remember once a non-Muslim girl came up to me, and I guess she found me someone that she could ask this question to. She said, "If I wear hijab, is that cultural appropriation?" And I go, no, you're a Christian woman. You have as much rights to the hijab as a Muslim woman does because the hijab is obligatory on you too. It's in the Bible. Same thing with Jewish women. You look at practicing Orthodox Jewish women, they wear hijab. They actually have very modest standards that are very similar to the hijab. This is not strictly a Muslim thing. Allah prescribed hijab on all of his religions. It's just they decided not to practice it anymore. The way that Western women dress now is relatively recent. Even if you look at how the Iranians used to dress, the woman in the 40s, 50s, 60s was less modest than what American women used to dress like. So it's very interesting. I love what you touched on at the end there. I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts now. Why is there this clear observation that Muslim women in America wear the hijab per capita more than Muslim women in places like Egypt and Qatar and others?
I think the problem with hijab, or the difficulty with hijab, is that recently, or maybe not even recently, it's become very heavily like a political symbol, a symbol of a very societal symbol as well. So, for example, if you go and look at how Muslim women used to wear hijab in Egypt, and you look at Again, I don't remember exactly what years, but there's a certain number of years where none of the Muslim women are covered, and then suddenly, because of changes in politics and governance, suddenly all the Muslim women are wearing all these women are wearing hijab. And if you go to Egypt now, surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, hijab is actually an indicator of wealth. So you will find more elite Egyptian women who are more educated, who have higher paying careers. They don't wear hijab, while more of the working class women in women who are more who are less in elite circles, they do wear the hijab. So again, this is we're talking about majority here, not all. But now hijab is an indicator of whether someone is more educated and wealthy in Egypt, which is why it's almost looked down upon when women wear hijab, as if they're less educated, and it's their backwards beliefs that are still tying them down to the hijab. And this is because of changes and influences in society. And the thing with, for example, in Qatar, with my experience there, many Muslim women wear it there because of an obligation and because they want to practice their faith. But there are also a lot of women there that wear it because of reputation, because women in Qatar are basically perceived by their culture. And when they don't wear the hijab, it's kind of a dishonor to their entire family. So they wear the hijab culturally, and then as soon as they leave Qatar to travel somewhere else, they'll take it off because they're wearing it culturally. Now, this doesn't mean they don't believe it's obligatory; it just means they are not practicing it as well. I think in America, the reason you find a lot of Muslim women wear it so properly and so with all this conviction is because, like I just said, we feel like we're carrying our faith with us everywhere, and we feel like we're representing Islam, and we feel like we are giving room for people to come and approach us and ask us about Islam when we wear the hijab in public over here. And I think that is, it's kind of like the more they push back, the more we push back. So the more Islamophobic you find, or Islamophobia you find rampant, the more we're like, no, we represent our faith. We want to wear the hijab. It is our choice to wear it, and we'll continue to wear it.
Yeah, that's very accurate that in Muslim countries, Islam is tied to the political times of the country. We spoke about Barakah. That's why I teamed up with Habba.io, a Muslim-founded site that allows you to put your favorite nonprofits all in one place and automatically donate to them as you make transactions throughout your day. So let's say that you spend $3.95 at a coffee shop. Habba.io will round that up to $4 and donate those 5 cents to the nonprofit of your choice automatically, rather than spending larger lump sums like $100, $200, $300, $50 every 1, 2, 3 months. Instead, place barakah into every single transaction that you make and give sadaqah every single time. And it's simple. Go to habba.io, link your bank account, select your favorite nonprofit, and use your change to change the world. I personally know the founders of Humanity. We've actually had one of them on the podcast. And what makes Humanity different is that they believe that this ummah is meant to carry each other, to build one another up. They don't focus on problems, but solutions. From solar-powered water systems, to direct zakat funds delivered to those who need it, to orphans given a chance to learn, grow, and live. Humanity is not your average nonprofit. They've removed the red tape. They've completely reimagined nonprofit organization. They've completely reimagined charity from the ground up with transparency, trust, and ihsan. Humanity is a registered US and Canadian charity with a 100% zakat fund policy. They work with trusted organizations like UN agencies to make sure that your charity goes into the right hands. But more than that, they're a movement, a global wave of believers who see suffering and say, I can do something about this. So if you believe in change, if you believe in this ummah, if you believe in humanity, this is your moment. Go to wearehumanity.org and give today and make your mark. So on to marriage. Many people wonder, is between divine decree, what we call qadar, and personal effort, working towards finding someone to marry. Uh, should someone wait for their nasib? Should a girl wait for her nasib, or actively take steps towards it? Especially because it's very hard for a girl to put herself out there. They usually don't want to approach a man and ask for their hand, obviously. So, you feel for Muslim women in this regard.
Yeah, I think the hadith that really kind of speaks to this question is when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ tells us to احرص على ما ينفعك واستعن بالله ولا تعجز, that to hold on to what benefits you, trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and don't be lazy. When you say don't be lazy, it means that don't wait for things to come to you. You have to actively take an effort to achieve what you want while also trusting in Allah. So trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't come just by sitting back and waiting for things to come. Trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means that you trust that Allah will put success in whatever endeavors you take to achieve what you want to achieve. So for women specifically, I mean, when we come to the example of Khadija radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she was the one who initiated the proposal. She saw characteristics in someone and she liked the characteristics and she liked the honesty and the integrity of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she's the one who had someone approach on her behalf for marriage. And that kind of everything that happens in the Prophet's life is supposed to teach us something, right? And what this is something that we learned from, that it's okay for a woman to, especially, maybe at a younger age when she's not pursuing marriage actively, to not actively take steps. And when things are ready and when she wants to pursue marriage, then she does something. But when someone is at an age where they're actively seeking marriage and they know that there's someone that they're interested in, there is no harm, and in fact we're encouraged to take active steps in those regards. And that could look like reaching out through a mutual friend, reaching out through a parent, through a family member, reaching out through even a community leader, through an imam or something like that. And the worst case scenario in these situations is a no, right? There's no harm for someone to shoot their shot, and either it works out and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them both barakah and blessings and they get married, and it doesn't work out and you find someone where it does eventually work out. So I think in situations where women are seeking to get married, they should take active steps, as should men. Getting to know other people in their communities, being an active part of their masajid, community events, whatever it takes in those moments to find your nasib.
Yeah, I mean, one of the issues that I find is that we haven't adapted to Western life well enough in regards to marriage. I'm huge on you should find your spouse in college because your social life decreases dramatically once you get out of college. Your circle of friends, your community practices decrease usually after college. And so many people are like, oh, well, I'm not ready to get married yet. I'm still in college. And then they graduate college, they work a full-time job, they end up going for their 9 to 5 and then coming back home. And there's no touch points between them and the opposite gender. And I think parents do a disservice for their children, for their daughters especially, when they don't allow them to get married in college or find someone to at least be engaged to in college. What do you think about that?
I think both are true. I think there are situations where people do find their significant other in college. And in those cases, I think parents should reasonably accommodate those as possible. Obviously, in most of those cases, the reason why it's not possible is because of lack of financial independence. And that's what makes things harder. But I think if parents are more accommodating towards doing maybe a nikah, right towards the end of college or after college, and then once the man has a stable job and can take care of his wife, then they get married. That's a great solution. But I also don't agree with the fact that people's social circles decrease after college. I think that's in people's control. And if people choose to not be a part of their society and their community actively after college, then that's in their hands. I personally think I made a lot more friends. Yeah, maybe this is because I didn't grow up or I didn't do my college in the States, but I've made so many friends after college, and I think I meet so many people every year that I've lost count of how many new friends I've made in the past 3-4 years. And this is, in my late 20s. So I think there are definitely opportunities for people to get to know other people. There's a lot of places where Muslim young professionals get together very often for things that are social, to get to know the community in Ramadan, whatever it is. There are many opportunities. And there's also just, word of mouth. I think one of the best ways for young Muslims to get married nowadays is through mutual friends, where friends have who know other people, friends know their spouse's friends who they can match with their own friends, things like that. And that's a very common way for people to find their significant other. So people know when their time is right. I think the flaw, maybe, or not a flaw, that one thing that people are doing less is getting married early, which comes with pros and cons. I think the longer people wait to get married, the harder it becomes, because naturally, statistically, the pool of people who are not married becomes smaller. But then also, the earlier a person gets married, it comes with more financial responsibility, and also comes with more responsibility, that the fact that people change so much in their early to mid to late 20s, and whether young couples can survive the changes of personality between each other. So there's not really a one all be all to kind of solve this problem of finding your significant other.
This is just my personal opinion, but I think when it comes to the financial burden, we should remove this whole, well, they need to have their own apartment or their own home. If they're in college, just live in one of your parents' homes until you're both graduated from college. Remove the mahr being $10,000, $15,000. And so we have ways to adapt this financial situation right now. Marriage costs $50,000 to $70,000 just to do it. And if you're Daisy, you can double that number because you got like 2, 3 weddings to take care of there, buddy. But we don't have to do that. You don't have to have a big wedding. You don't have to have a big mahr or your own apartment. Just get married when it's easiest. And I do disagree with you that your social circles don't decrease after college. Statistically, there's a study on it that your social circle decreases after the age of 18, 19, around the time that you graduate college. But I do understand what you're saying there. One of the things that I think Muslim women struggle with, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is their parents are usually stricter around them. They can't really go to events that much. They can't really travel. They can't really go out that much. And so they're stuck in the home. They're socially isolated more than Muslim men. And then they're also expected to find someone to marry.
Can I address the financial question first?
Sure.
Yeah. So when it comes to financial aspects of marriage, I think I agree with you in terms that there's so much financial pressure around marriage that makes it harder for people to get married young. And it's also kind of like like a choose, you choose either you get married young and not have the kind of dream wedding that you have, or you wait to get married when people are more financially independent and they can have the dream wedding that they have. But when it comes to mahr specifically, I don't think the answer is to decrease mahr. I think the answer is to change the structure of mahr. Because in the end, why is mahr such a integral part of the marriage contract? It's one of the basic foundational aspects of the marriage contract. And this is to ensure that women have some sort of something to lean on in the case of divorce, in the case of their spouse passing away, in the case of anything happening, women having some sort of financial independence. Now, I know we're going to go into this later as well, but I think that if the structure of mahr is changed to where instead of an outright payment of a few, however much it is, people do it in installments, or when you can even put in a marriage contract, for example, when the husband makes X amount of money, this is the X amount of percentage or the X amount of money that the wife is going to get, or the wife gets paid the mahr in installments, or whatever it is. There are ways to ensure that the purpose of mahr is still being achieved while also not placing immense financial burden on the husband.
Yeah,
So
but the Prophet ﷺ accepted from Ali, I think, like a shield and some other frivolous item for the marriage of Fatima. I'm not sure if that's the purpose of mahr. I mean, you're the expert on, I think, divorce laws and stuff like that. But I mean, if you give a girl $15,000 when you get married, and then in 10, 15 years you get divorced, I'm pretty sure she doesn't even have those $10,000, $15,000 anymore.
yeah, I think when it comes, obviously, there's many examples within the Prophet's time of varying amounts of mahr, and that's to show that there's not really a set amount of mahr to be done. But you have to look at things more holistically and take a step back and look at the way society is framed right now. In the past, at the time of the Prophet, one could not conceive of a woman living alone or being thrown out into the street or having no one to take care of her. There was always institutions in place that would always ensure that a woman is taken care of, whether it was her father, her brother, her son, whether it was her qabila, her tribe itself, whether it was even like the entire society. Women would never have any sort of kind of danger of not being financially supported. This is not the reality of the case exists now. Nowadays, the family structures and the tribal structures don't exist anymore. There's not really a Beit Med or some sort of, state that's funneling money towards women who are widowed or divorced as it was in the past. And then also, women are actually at risk of not being supported, especially in cases where, let's say, they have children, and child support's a whole other topic. But there has to be some sort of instances where women have some sort of money to lean back on, and it may start off as something like $15,000. But again, if we kind of instill mechanisms in place for women to invest this money, where this money is not just sitting there being spent, it's growing for them to go back to in cases when they do need it, it will decrease the reliance of women on men to the point where women are not staying in abusive or unhealthy marriages as they often do now. We're going off track a little bit over here. I know you had your question about parents and strictness on daughters, and to address that, I think that's changing. With time, that's changing. I think with parents that have grown up in the States and who've had their own social experiences, they'll allow that for their kids. The way that my mom raised me was very different from the way she raised my 19-year-old sister. Like, things are changing with time. People are becoming more relaxed and comfortable. And I mean, I don't really have a solution for that other than just educating parents on the importance of both their children being out and part of the community, and not just for marriage, for other reasons other than marriage, to be a beneficial use to their community as well.
Yeah, and divorce wasn't taboo back then either. A woman would get divorced in however many the time period where you have to stay single. After that, right away, they were able to get married again. Nowadays, if a woman gets divorced, she's deemed untouchable, and sometimes even the men. So that's a huge difference as well. Is once someone is divorced, they're going to be single for a while, probably in today's times.
And unfortunately, like, we can't change something like that overnight. That's a kind of stigma that has changed through education, through time, through regular, teaching of Muslim societies, of that divorce for the right reasons is something that's very acceptable. If two people are in an unhealthy marriage, and if one or the other or both spouses are not right for the other, then it is perfectly normal and acceptable for them to get divorced and find someone who is more suited to them. Marriage is supposed to be something that is, difficult, and it's a commitment, and it is a lot of work, but at the same time, it should be something beneficial, and something spouses should be, libas for each other. They should be garments for each other where they can comfort each other, be mawadda, there should be rahmah, there should be mercy between spouses. So when that doesn't exist, it should be normal and possible for people to get a divorce without the worry of ever finding someone else.
And subhanAllah, is your last name Sheikh, coincidentally? Or
Yeah, it
that's
is. I
actually your
mean,
last name?
make a joke. You can call me Sheikh squared eventually when I am a Sheikh.
Inshallah, we'll be calling you Dr. Reem Shaikh squared soon.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
More years keeping your dot.
Ameen. Ustadha Reem, that's all the questions that I have for you. Do you have any final thoughts before we head off?
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me and for this very insightful conversation. I enjoyed the topics that we discussed, and looking forward to more of these, inshallah.
Inshallah, we'd love to have you back on. Ustadha Reem Shaikh, master's degree from Harvard University, a PhD candidate at University of Texas. Thank you so much for joining the Ansari podcast. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
And thank you guys for listening to the Ansari podcast. I personally know the founders of Humanity. We've actually had one of them on the podcast. And what makes Humanity different is that they believe that this ummah is meant to carry each other, to build one another up. They don't focus on problems, but solutions. From solar-powered water systems, to direct zakat funds delivered to those who need it, to orphans given a chance to learn, grow, and live. Humanity is not your average nonprofit. They've removed the red tape. They've completely reimagined nonprofit organization. They've completely reimagined charity from the ground up with transparency, trust, and ihsan. Humanity is a registered US and Canadian charity with a 100% zakat fund policy. They work with trusted organizations like UN agencies to make sure that your charity goes into the right hands. But more than that, they're a movement, a global wave of believers who see suffering and say, I can do something about this. So if you believe in change, if you believe in this ummah, if you believe in humanity, this is your moment. Go to wearehumanity.org and give today and make your mark. Our vision is to create the next big media company that our generation deserves, but we need your help to get there. Join our 1,000 strong campaign, where we're looking for 1,000 members and supporters to help us become a fully independent media company. And when you become a member, you're not just getting a community, exclusive perks, and discounts on all of our products. You're helping build the ummah through media, art, and culture. Soft power that Israel understands so well that they spend $7,000 per social media post. But we're not asking for all of that. For just $9.99 a month, you'll be fueling every part of our studios, from hiring our team to keeping us independent to investing in our future, where we plan on competing with mainstream media. And it only takes a minute. Click the link below, choose your tier, and step into the Ansari-verse. Join us today and be a part of the new generation, writing the next chapter of our great civilization. Become an Ansari today.